So yeah, we did.
I mean, I've worked with Tony a few
Have
times.
you?
Yeah, not on stage.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Felixstowe TV. We're so sorry there was a delay this morning. Our fault entirely. Our guest was here on time, so I will put that out there. I'd like you to welcome today Grant Collier, and we're really pleased to have him come in today. Really grateful of you coming down.
Oh,
As you will probably hear when he starts talking, he's not from Felixstowe. He's from South East London. I picked up straight away. People moan at me because I'm not from around here, but we're really lucky to have him in because he's a psychic medium. And when we start talking, he has done a lot of work with top people. We can't really, we need to be careful what we do say, but we're also going to pick up with Grant. He has a lot of knowledge as to why TV shows, etc., are so restricted. People that look at psychic TV, etc., and do say to us after we have people in, well, they're very general, very general. Then there are reasons which I've only just learned. So I'm learning today. So welcome to you anyway, and thank you for coming. I think what we'd like to start on, because obviously we know, or we're going to tell people that you have done a lot of high priority work, high publicity work. So you're no stranger to all this.
No, not at all.
And that you're doing obviously your own shows. We're going to tell people how to get in touch because we have a lot of people when we have people like yourself on. Can you tell me first how it started? How did you suddenly realise that you were capable of something?
Well, I was brought up on a farm for 16.5 years on the south borders of, or the north borders of Kent, the south east London border. And for me, you know, I think for me it was something of around about 6 years old. My mum and dad got divorced. I was living in a house that was a cookhouse for a mansion house that got bombed in the Second World War.
Right.
And there was, I think as a child, I can always remember feeling stuff and hearing stuff around me. That generated to the energy of obviously going through a hard time as a child, mum and dad splitting up, and it was quite a hard split.
Right.
I went very much with inside myself for a long time. I was one of four children. I was the youngest, and I was always the one that seemed to be the destructive child.
Okay.
But I think for me, over that period of time of knowing at 6 years old and seeing stuff that I couldn't explain, and I don't like to just turn around and say to people, oh, I was seeing ghosts in front of me. That's not the way that it was. It was almost like a manifestation energy. And the only way I could describe it is, have you ever seen the film Predator, where you've got the see-through shadow of the alien? That's what it was. And I used to call them the jellymen.
Right.
And basically what it was is it would be like an energy forming and walking towards you or walking around you. But over a period of time with that, you know, I got to around about the ages of 8, 9, 10, and I could start to see the energies of the shadows with their darkened features, like the eye sockets would darken down and their face. But I'd be scared of that.
Okay.
And I think for me, over the years, it was almost like a feeling of, oh, I don't like the feeling of that, and it would then come into the mind. Well, I'll explain a little bit of how that went on later on, but when I got to around about 11 years old, I experienced death for the first time. Lost my grandmother.
Okay.
And my grandmother was very much Romany energy. I can remember my grandmother, she used to read the tea leaves every Saturday afternoon for my mother. I'd turn the cup upside down, turn it 3 times, turn it over and read her tea leaves. So I know that there was a bloodline back there.
Yeah.
But, you know, my mum knew that I had a gift, and then she knew that there was something within me, but she never really opened me up to what it was, and I think I was too early to understand what it was then. But when I hit sort of around 11, 12, when that first experience of physical death came in, and I was very close to my grandmother, I could almost see her as a guide. She was around me all the time. I felt this emotion build up, and more the energy of the feelings were coming forward on the clairsentient energy. Okay. These energies were building up. I was getting more of a clairvoyance, and these were the 2 main energies of my senses that I was using at the time. And as time went on, I started to get out there. I was developing more. I was starting to sort of read for people at the ages of 12, 13.
Right, that's very
And then, absolutely. And it was, and, you know, and this wasn't out for people like clients. These were people that are friends and family, and people were sitting there going, wow, where's he getting this information from?
Yeah.
And I never judged it, I never questioned it. I didn't know much about, the spiritual movement of people.
No.
I didn't know about spiritist churches. It wasn't something that I was attuned to. I thought everybody had this gift. I thought everybody had it. I know that I went through school not liking school. It didn't feel like it fitted for me. I didn't feel like I fitted in. I didn't feel like I fitted into the family unit. I felt very much like a black sheep of the family.
Right.
And what I learned from the energy of this is something that I now know later on within my work, and I'll bring that into the energy of the storyline of where we're going with it, where it leads me up to today. But what I found over a period of time is that, I got introduced to people that were linked with spiritist churches, bits and pieces. It just went along the way. And my mum did actually drag me to a spiritist church when I was around about 15. And she said, look, Grant, I think we need to take you to somewhere with this what you've got. You've got this gift. Anyway, so for me, that happened. I had my first real experience of a full apparition in front of me around about the time when I was 17. And I was driving then. I just started to drive. I was going through a rocky patch in my life. And I can remember I went down and stayed with my father for a couple of weeks. Now, first time I would have been down there for a long time. And he lived out in the middle of nowhere in West Sussex, down towards Hastings. And it was a little village called Wadhurst. And to cut a long story short, I used to be on CB radio years ago. And it was the time when CB radio was dying out. But I had one in the car. And I just literally keyed the microphone, and there was no one there, and I just went, oh, it's boring out there, and I was just having a cigarette, because my mother, my stepmother and my father were anti-smokers. So I used to go outside and have this cigarette out. But I was smoking roll-up cigarettes at the time, and I can remember having my interior light on, and this guy was to come back to me, and he said to me, oh, hello, and I went, oh, hello, how are you? Got speaking to him, turned around to go and get on the passenger seat to pick up my cigarette papers. And there was a woman sitting in the car with me, full-blown woman, not like a see-through energy, just a proper woman. I went like that, turned away, looked back, she'd gone. But in my mind, she was still there. And I gave him all the information about this woman, talking about, I got the name Anne. I felt that, and I started to get this pain in my stomach, so I felt there was something around the stomach. Then they showed me like a video image of this woman on this push bike with a little Jack Russell running alongside her. She had a basket on the front of the bike. And this guy went on to say, well, I think you're winding me up. You must know the area, you must know the village. I went, well, I don't know. Why are you saying that? He said, well, Anne died last year of stomach cancer, and she was well known in the village, which was the next village along from Wadhurst, a little village called Stonewash. And she used to have this bike, and the little Jack Russell used to run in the bike, but she used to put it in the basket as well. And I went, well, no, I don't know anything about it. I come from sort of 20 miles up the road. I know nothing about the village at all. So he was like gobsmacked, and then that led on to the energy of me bringing through another guy who was dressed in a Navy uniform, and then he was then dressed in an energy of just normal clothes, pushing a wheelbarrow full of vegetables. And I got the name Alf. Then it all went quiet. Then I heard this little lady's voice come on the CB radio. It passed the microphone over to her, and she said, oh, hello, darling. I said, hello. I said, this is your father, isn't it? She went, I'm not going to say a word. You keep telling me, she said to me. And I told her about that he had a pocket watch. He was showing me a pocket watch with an engraving on the side. And then I said to her that he had a young girl dancing around him. I felt that she was an Aquarian. She only looked about 7 or 8 years old, but I said, I don't get that. I get 21 in my head, so she would be 20. This was 21 years ago. I also turned around and said at that point that I felt that she needed to go to the doctors because she had arthritis in both legs. And at that point, she said, I'm going to have to stop you there. I went, okay. She said, who are you? I went, Told her who I was, told her why I was down
Why
at
you
my
were
father's
there,
and
yeah.
bits and pieces. And she turned around and said, I don't know who you are, but that was absolutely amazing. And I went, why? She said, that was my father. His name's Alf. He was in the Navy. He had his own allotment. She said to me, the pocket watch that you are talking about, I have it in my hand right now.
Gosh.
She said, it's literally at hand, so I had it and just picked it up. She said, I had a miscarriage 21 years ago. And she said, that miscarriage actually happened in the January, so the Aquarian energy was what
Would be correct, yeah.
She said to me, and to top it all off, she said, I only went to the doctors 2 days ago, and he's diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis in both legs. And at that point, they literally turned around and said, we don't know who you are. They was in their 80s, both of them had cancer.
Right.
And the old boy was on his last legs, bless him. He was in his 80s. They actually invited me the next day for Sunday dinner in the next village along. And I was like, wow. And I met them and they were just so grateful to be able to have that connection. Anyway, so that led on to me.
So you knew then
that
what you were capable of
absolutely. I'd given the information. I've been able to give so many messages for so many years. I'd seen the energy of spirit building up for so long. And I think that was the one that really touched me with names, dates, validations. Yes. That's when it really kicked in. Yeah. So those teenage years were the years that really kicked in for me.
Yeah.
There was times through my work that, it was more of a hobby. I had a full-time job. I was a qualified greenkeeper on a golf course. Okay. I was a landscape gardener. That's where I was. Then really, I coming forward a lot more and jumping forward, I got made redundant.
Okay.
Within my work, I fell out of work. I walked up to the job centre, nothing in the job centre. Come back that day, walked into a brand new holistic shop in Tunbridge Wells in King. Walked into that shop. The woman behind the counter turned around and said to me, Grant. She didn't say Grant. She said, "Do you what crystals pull to your energy?" I went, "All of them." She went, "Okay." She said, "Why is that?" I said, "Well, I'm a medium." She said, "Okay, well, give me 5 minutes." And she said, "Give me a reading," which I did. And she turned around and went, "Oh my God, I can have you in my shop working." Oh. That's when I come across and met Robin Lown. Robin Lown is the top palmist in the country. He works at the London College of Psychic Studies. This man he's been a big member of BAPS. He was a vice president of BAPS, and he took that over from Russell Grant. And now he's stepped back from BAPS. He's very busy with his own work. This man's also read some big names. He's read David Beckham's palm. Prince William. He was actually on Capital Radio in London the other day, where he did the interview for the prediction just before the birth.
Really?
So and he got it all right. And this is something that he said years ago within the energy that he got a 2-2 in the date, and it was on the 22nd.
Gosh.
And he said it was going to be a boy. So this is where I met Robin Lown. Robin Lown was massive within the industry. He very big, knew a lot of people in the work. He met me. We actually done an event together where he did the palmistry, I did the mediumship, and we had another lady come up doing the colour therapy on stage, a woman called Caroline Small. And basically, from that point, he saw something within me. He was, "Oh my God, you've got to push your gift." Now, at that point, he turned around and said to me, "Grant, I'm going to work with you one day, but the timing's not right. There's going to be a time when we're apart." Well, literally, I think it was around about 2 months after that, I applied for Psychic TV.
Okay.
Up in London. Right. And Psychic TV was on Channel 886 on Sky. I went in, they interviewed me. They were blown away with how I was. And it wasn't just about the gift, it was about, you just look like a normal guy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you open up and you give us all this information. It's not just about the validation, it was about the understanding of the process. And you blow our mind. So literally, I started, and believe it or not, this is so true. They said to me, "We're going to start you next week." Didn't happen. 2 weeks down the line, they said, "Look, we're going to start you on the 16th of March." And I went, "Well, that's pretty strange." They said, "Why is that?" I said, "Because that's my birthday."
Oh.
So I started Psychic TV on my birthday. Well, Psychic TV, I became one of their main studio psychics. I was doing anything from up to 16 to 18 live shows a month. They were 6-hour shows.
Oh.
So they would be from sort of 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
Where we would have 3 psychics in on a rotation system. So we'd do 20 minutes on a desk, go into a telephone booth, go into another telephone booth, and then we'd swap and change through the night. I'd do breakfast shows where we'd do presenting and then bringing the shows in, bits and pieces. Now I do an afternoon show, which is called The Love Zone, which we actually one day got the, I had Colin Fry.
Oh,
he agreed to do it for me, because I did also, alongside that, I did my own radio show, which was a block hours interview of psychic surgery on a Friday afternoon with City Talk Radio up in Liverpool, alongside a DJ called Roy Basnick. And so Colin come in, and he's onto the radio show, and he just basically said, "Oh, can you promote Help the Heroes?" Because he was doing the North Pier. So I said, "Colin, can you do me a favour? Would you come in and do something for me?" He said, "Yeah, absolutely." So we built up that rapport, me and Colin, and he's now been on a radio show that I do now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it went from leaps to bounds. So done Psychic TV for 4.5 years. Then went over to Psychic World TV, which is on channel 887, which is the next one up, which was a bit of a rival channel. And then I got asked to go out to Budapest.
Right.
And I got asked to go out to Budapest for it's called Psychic Readings Live.
Okay.
On TV3's Ireland's main TV channel. That went out to between 8 and 11 million viewers per night. I got asked to go out there. It wasn't really my cup of tea because of the situation of the rules and regulations of TV, and I think this is something we're going to touch on in a minute. It was an area where I felt that, one, it didn't showcase me in the right way. And Psychic Readings Live was governed with a different energy of how they feel, because the Eastern European energy market, because ECO TV went out to 13 to 16 different countries live at one time.
Okay.
So, if I was out going live to Ireland, there would be a show going out to Trinidad and Tobago, there'd be one going out to Switzerland, there'd be one going out to Bulgaria, all live, and there would be all psychic shows. So we had the Irish show. It got to a stage where I'd done 3 shows for them. I flew out all the way out to Budapest, done 3 shows. I didn't like the energy there of what they were doing, and the reason being is that I said, look, I've done shows in England. I know the rules and regulations. This isn't going to make you look any good. It ain't going to make me look any good. And they wanted me to go out there and say, look, we want you to say you are the best medium in the world. I went, oh no, I'm not going to say that.
No.
Yeah. I work alongside some amazing colleagues in this work. I class myself as a good medium. Yes. I class myself as probably one of the top mediums in the country. Yes. But there's many more that I work around.
Yeah.
That are exactly the same, and more that I would look at and respect within that energy. So basically, I did 3 shows and literally had to get the flight home myself and pay for my own flight. That I turned around and said to them, if you don't change your ways, then it would literally flop within the next 2 months. Sure enough, it did.
Right.
It flopped, it went down. Now, the thing is with rules and regulations with TV, this is why, a lot of people watch these programs and go, are these guys really, really psychic, whatever? Well, they are governed by rules and regulations. We cannot talk about mediumship on TV. We cannot do mediumship. We can't even say the word medium or use medium on TV. The fact of the matter is, a lot of these people will sit there and watch these shows and go, well, why are they not talking about their guides, or why are they not talking about angels and bits and pieces? Because when we first started, I could talk about my guide.
Yeah.
Then the rules of TV changed over the couple of years that I was there, and then there was this new ruling government, a bit like Ofcom, that took over, and they were more stricter on the energy of FM radio as much as TV and what could be said. So basically what happened is that, we couldn't say these things, and other things like it had to be for entertainment purposes. Every 15 minutes we had to keep getting the presenter to say, it was only for entertainment purposes.
Right, yes.
We could not talk about health pregnancy, finance, or legal matters.
Which are quite big in people's lives.
I think it is, but then it's something with my work that I never touch on anyway.
Right.
Because health is, spirit will never give you anything really around the energy of, say, for instance, passing. They won't tell you if somebody dies, and if there's any psychic out there that says, oh, this, you know, your mother, father's going to die, then they're doing their job wrong.
Right, okay.
You know, for many years, you know, I've done many readings for thousands and thousands of people. You know, you may pick up on something where there's an energy of where someone's not well, or, you know, but normally it's about empowerment and upliftment around the energy of where they feel that there's a better energy coming from that. Okay? Very rarely they'll give you a negative on it. And I've never, ever come across the energy of where I felt that there was a negative where something.
And you've done a lot. So,
yeah, absolutely. Because spirit are there as a guidance. They're there to help us through the energy of the test of this life, you know, of this physical dimension. And this is something that, you know, I was learning and learning and learning and learning, especially more over the last 10 years of my work. And I think that within the energy of that, you know, I think when you're younger, when you're developing, you're just giving it because you're giving it. And I think that anybody out there that is trying to develop with the energy of this work, you know, don't become the, you know, to become the medium or say you are a medium. You know, if you're doing it for 2 years, you're not the medium.
Okay.
It's about the understanding behind the process. It's very good to be able to open up and validate. I don't take that away from anybody. You know, yes, you're sensitive, you're open, but a medium has to understand the process behind the work. And the reason why that is the case is, say for instance, you were a skeptic and you were somebody that was coming to me and writing an article from a newspaper, and you said to me, Grant, okay, it's not about the validation. I'm not worried about that. Tell me the process of the afterlife. You know, tell me about reincarnation. Tell me about all these things. How does it work? And if I can't give you them answers, then you're going to turn around and say to me, I don't believe you, but I also don't believe in spirit. So I'm not doing my job properly as a medium. Now, medium, what is a medium? A medium is a mediator between spirit and the earth plane to us humans. But I don't like the word medium. And this was something that within my work come over preferably more around the last 8 or 9 years. I like to call myself a light worker.
Okay.
Now, light workers, we're all known, there's a lot of people out there that know about the light workers. We're all light workers within the energy of mediumship anyway. But what I felt that I was more within the energy of was a universal light worker. Now, I got pulled more towards the energy of the universe and the stars, that this is, you know, it's not about earth and heaven. You know, spirit isn't above and below, it's all around us.
I see. So
it's like layers of an onion.
Right, I see.
So when we leave this physical dimension, okay, with what we go, we walk into another dimension. Okay, so we leave this physical plane, we're going to the next dimension. Because when you look at what you are an energy.
Okay.
You are an energy, but you're in a physical dimension. Take the energy of your body away, you are an energy.
Okay.
You know? So basically, you're an energy that's just changing your dimension and shifting into the next one. And, you know, when we work with, in many aspects of this work, I'm working with the light. You are a light. You're a light energy. To spirit, if the spirit to see you and communicate with you sees your light.
Okay.
They hear your voice and vibration, but they also see your light. So I'm working with you as a light energy. When I do clearances, if I do work in the energy of ghost investigation and clearances, then I pull everybody's energy together to build that light up so that the energy of light can work together, so we can all work together. So light energy is on the other side as much as light energy is on this side. So basically, that's what I started to realise is that I'm not just a medium, I'm a light worker. Because I help spirit, and I help trap spirit over to the other energy, or the residual energy. Call it heaven, call it whatever.
Somewhere else.
It would be on that dimension of finding peace and clarity within there. So when we talk about poltergeist activity, poltergeist is not what I class as a negative energy. It's just showing you a trapped energy, something just outside this dimension of light. It's so close that it can come in and it can show its physical presence around the energy of our life.
Right.
So basically, to move an object doesn't mean to say it's scary, it just means it's trying to show its
Get your attention.
And that's basically what happens with it, you know. So coming back to the energy of the TV stuff, you know, TV is regulated and you cannot put this work out there in its full potential the way that it should be. So now a lot of people are turning to internet TV.
Yeah, internet TV.
Internet radio, because they're not governed by Ofcom and Ofcom rulings. So we're finding now that these are the ways forward. I actually run my own radio show every Sunday called Virtual Visions Radio. That's on Blog Talk Radio. That goes out worldwide, where I can talk freely about the energy of my work. Right. And talk about the mediumship, talk about palmistry, talk about dream analysis, talk about anything within the energy of the paranormal world, to make people understand that we sit in a box, we live in a box, and we need to step outside the box and open our minds up to the real things that are going on in the world.
Okay.
You know, through my work, you know, we go back to the energy of the universal energies. Higher beings, aliens, what are they? What is this situation? You know, what is an alien to you?
Yeah.
Is it an alien as evil, something nasty, something that's going to come and destroy the world? Well, there's many facets of people that have discovered extraterrestrial work through their own mediumship.
Oh, right.
We find a lot of mediums are connected within the energy of seeing stuff that they thought, oh, that was a bit weird. I mean, many times I've stood on platform and I might be bringing through a son that might have died of pneumonia for their mother, and then suddenly there was this very, very small alien-looking guy standing next to me, not saying nothing. Obviously didn't bring it up. No. I thought, what the hell is that? Done away with it.
Yeah.
And I found that, you know, the more and more I was working with it, the more and more these energies were coming in. And, you know, it's a part of my work that I don't really talk about too much, because I think it's something that people will ridicule. But I think that what we're starting to realise is that people are seeing more UFO activity out there. We're starting to see more stuff happening out there on a different scale. So we talk about light workers, starseeds. Starseeds is massive. I mean, if you go and Google starseed, it's massive, and it's very big across America. A lot of Americans, you know, you've got the Syrians, you've got the Palladians. There are different types of energy of extraterrestrial being that were brought back down to Earth to actually try and save the world, I feel. Bring peace and harmony back to this planet. You know, and there's so much more in depth within that. I could go on here for hours.
Yeah, cool.
But coming back to the TV stuff, that's the reason why people are governed by not being able to say things. This is why it's frustrating for viewers.
Of course it is.
You know, wanting this. Also, the other thing was for psychic TV is people texting questions at a rate of whatever, and they're not getting their texts read out or whatever. Now, you've got to understand, I think at the time I would have a 20-minute slot and I'd have to read somebody's text in 2 minutes. And I was doing that every night, every day, every morning. You know, and I'd do a block section, I'd have to clear sort of 12 to 15 text messages before I went away, you know. So I had a 20-minute slot, sometimes not even that much, do you know what I mean? It all depends. No. It could be 7. I had to clear 7, then go back to.
Yeah.
So it's an area where I think a lot of people got a little bit fed up with it. And I think the thing is with it also is it's not just the clients that we found that were the ones that were complaining to Ofcom. The shame and the fact of the matter was it was other psychics that were jealous that were putting complaints in. And this was something that I found within my work, that there was one particular other psychic, and I can't mention a name, but obviously, you know, it was just a shame. But you know, I think the thing is now, where is psychic TV going, or any form of work within?
It's so restricted.
I mean, if we look at the energy of Most Haunted and all these things now, they are restricted now because we just cannot be, and it's become ridiculous.
Yeah.
The freedom of being able to put out on TV something like this work is no different how it should be than we watch Songs of Praise on a Sunday evening.
Of course not.
Because at the end of the day, and this is no disrespect to the Catholic Church or anything else, at the end of the day, we can openly talk about God.
Yeah. With no restriction.
With no restriction. Now, personally, I don't believe that there is a God. I believe that there's a government of energy up there that we can all look to. There's no religious energies of different gods out there. There is one big energy and a universal energy that we can look to and go, do you know what? I want positivity in my life, and they'll give it back. Right. The thing is, I think the thing is, as well as me that, there's many different reasons why the church and the Catholic Church put out this energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into it because I'll probably get a backlash from the reasons why. But, why is it any different that everyone can't have their own belief?
It should be freedom of speech.
It should be
belief.
Freedom. Yeah. And I think that this is something that, through my work is very frustrating because what you get with our work and within the spiritualist movement is validation. Yes, there will be a few people in this game that will come forward and probably try to make a quick buck out of it.
Yeah, which is always a problem.
That is something that is a problem within the spiritualist movement. I've talked about this with a lot of big names in the business, and it is frustrating. I think it gives the spiritualist movement a bad name.
Yeah.
I think that anybody out there that is working as a medium should have a reputable CV behind them.
Okay.
Should also be insured.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people out there within this business that aren't insured, and they should be insured. Because it's important. Because you are a professional person within your field, and you should be insured within it. And that's not because you might be getting something wrong. That's just because of the energy of the way that it is in society today.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you are in the energy of this game, expect that you're going to get people that's going to come up to you and go, no, I don't believe you. Fine. You're never going to, push that energy over to somebody that doesn't believe. It's their choice, and it's their personal choice.
Yeah, cool.
People come to me and come to me for a choice. I don't ask them to come to me.
No.
And that's the way it is. But I found within my gift that I become more open. I was seeing spirit more, hearing spirit more. I become clairsentient around about 10, 11 years ago. I become more clairaudient than my other senses, so I hear them more than I do see and sense them. But I get all of them three mixed together. When I come away from the TV stuff, I wanted to be the medium again. I felt like I was losing my way. I felt like I was becoming a counsellor.
Yeah.
So I come away from TV, and coming away from TV was a bit of a blow, because you've done 4 years of TV and suddenly you're going back to the basics of where you are, building your name up again. So it was a bit of a culture shock for me, but in a good way, because it made me feel that I had to find where I was going with my gift again, and where I was going to be. And out of the blue, I had 2 young ladies come to me and say to me, we own an investigation team called Spooksavers.
Right.
And would you be interested in doing investigational work and becoming a medium? And they didn't know much about me because I hadn't watched psychic TV. They were more into the investigation and stuff instead of the reading stuff. So I said, yeah, and I told them about my connection where I'd done, and they ripped my hand off and said, yes, okay, we'll come and work with us. Well, we started that not this February, not this April, sorry, the April before, and they built up to a stage now where they're one of London's leading paranormal investigation teams.
Wow.
We have investigated quite a few big places. We are actually going to Alton Towers next January.
Right.
And we are merging with another team called Haunted Evenings up in Birmingham, around that way.
Yeah.
And there will be me alongside another medium called Sarah May, who used to work with me on Psychic World TV. It was a fantastic medium, bless her. And we're going to be doing a visual up there, and I think there's around about 100, I think we're limited to about 150 people on that night. But with Spooksavers, they are merging with these guys. We've just done Pluckley Village down in Kent this weekend, which was amazing. And this is where we brought in the energy of, because I'm actually a radio host as well or co-host, I should say, for Becoming Psychic on Channel Radio. This was set up with a young lady who's actually my PA at the moment, Sammy B, and it's gone absolutely mad. We had them down and her professional photographer doing stuff, and they're actually sponsoring becoming psychic radio, which is fantastic. So it's all merging very, very nicely. Spooksavers are on the map now. We've had so many clients come back and go, "You're doing it really well. We don't want to go to any other investigation team. We want to come to you now." And the reason I think for that is that, and this is no disrespect to any other paranormal investigation team, is that we're actually making things happen. We had the EMF meters like all the others do. We had the energy of Ghost Box. We had the energy of EVP and all the other bits of equipment we're using. And what I found is, and what they found is, and what I found was as well, which is completely new to my work, with using the equipment, how powerful the energy was within my gift and what was coming forward.
Right.
I could literally have an EMF meter in my hand and call the energy of spirit, and it will come in and go mad. Oh. And within that, we've set up visual equipment with EVPs, sorry, EMF meters around the room, and I've asked spirit to leave the energy of this EMF meter and walk over to that one, and it's done it on command. If you go onto YouTube, there is a clip on there of where we was at Canooden, which is the most haunted village in Essex, and that was last Halloween. I had a 9-minute conversation with the spirit of a witch, young witch girl called Sarah, that got hung there by EMF meter. And basically, EMF meter is a needle, but it has a thing. When it goes up into the red, it starts bleeding. It goes beep, 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 beep. It gets faster and faster and faster. But I controlled the energy with her to be able to go 1 bleep for a no, 2 bleep for a yes. And for 9 minutes, we had a conversation with her, yes and no's.
Goodness,
and we pushed her over to the light. And then I asked her, is she over with, because I actually brought her lover through, but he was in a different dimension. She was trapped. He was in residual energy. So he actually come through and pulled the energy through, and they were together. And it was just an amazing response. And then straight after that, on that same bit of video, I brought through a 9-year-old child, and I said, can you bleep out how old you are? She bleeped out 9 times. And I said, can you repeat that again? And it bleeped out 9 times. And this is what we're finding, that people are going, how the hell? What is that about?
Yeah.
And I find that ghost investigation really is more to do about teaching about the energies. I think it's very nice to pick up on the energies of what's at that location. But what we're finding is, and this is not what we're finding, I mean, I already know this, but what we're trying to teach and what I'm trying to explain to the team is that it doesn't matter where you are or what you are, open to spirit wherever it is. It doesn't mean to be that it is going to be just the spirits on that location. Many people will come to our locations, and I'll be walking around and I'll be picking up on the energy of spirit that people have brought with them as well.
Of course, yeah, because when you do a show,
absolutely,
everything,
absolutely. Yeah. Now, we do use the Ouija board, and I think that it's something that a lot of people have turned around and questioned over the years, that it's something that's nasty. It's actually a message board. I think the energy of press over the years and the history of the Ouija board give it a bad name, you know. And I think that, you know, I always, what we try to do is make sure that people, we make sure that people are protected, or go for a protection procedure before we start and before they go home. And also what I do is I shut down, I protect all the boards after they've been used. We've had no one ever come away and gone, oh, I've been scared or whatever. Do you know?
Right,
we work on sheer protection all the time. The customer is always, and the client always come first within these investigations. So that's where we've led on to. We are, you know, doing really well in the investigation side of it. I'm actually loving the energy of working with that side of my work. But I also love the energy of my work with my platform on my shows.
Yeah, cool.
And that's where I'm at the moment. I've just done the Hush Club up in Lowestoft. That was last Friday. Not last Friday, the Friday before. Then I went and done the Spirit in Hand tour. That was down in Thurrock in Essex. We've got more tours coming up. I haven't got my diary today, so I can't.
So how can people find out about your tours? You're on Facebook?
If you go onto Facebook, you can go onto Facebook and type in Grant Collier, that's Colyer.
Which will be up on the video.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also get me on Twitter.
Right.
Find me on Twitter. I have my own website. It is down and being reconstructed at the moment. So
Okay.
don't worry, guys. If you can't see
find
it, you will find it. It's coming. It's just literally being.
I assume you'll put a notification on Facebook and Twitter.
Absolutely. But if you do go to my website in time when it's back on, it's at www.grantcollier.co.uk.
Okay.
You can go through to Spooksavers as well, and Spooksavers are www.spooksavers.co.uk as well.
Okay. Right.
And go through on Facebook, because you'll find a lot of my work at the moment is through Becoming Psychic Radio. So if you go onto Facebook and go through to Becoming Psychic Radio. And also Becoming Psychic Radio, Becoming Psychic Magazine as well. They've got an online magazine there as well, which I'm featured in, and I'm their medium that does the readings. We give away free readings each month.
Okay.
And I do 4 readings each month where I've answered the questions. There's that. Like I say, Virtual Visions FM as well is my own radio show on a Sunday.
Okay.
That's alongside a lovely medium host who's her name's called Ara Parisian, and she's from Columbia, Canada.
Cool.
And she's live with me every Sunday. We broadcast that. We go around the world, and you can go through to that, and you can go through to www.virtualvisions.fm. and go and find a little bit more out about that. But we have some amazing guests. Like I say, I've had Colin Fryer, I've had Robin on, I've had a lovely lady called Andy Hudson, who's a crystal expert.
Right.
She was actually on Psychic TV with me, and she also does the right stuff on Channel 5.
Oh,
so
right.
she appears on there quite a bit as well. So we've had some fantastic psychics from on stateside as well come on the show. And we also had a guy called Frank Pilkington, who's a Scottish astrologer, very well known up in Scotland.
Yeah. Doesn't he do something in magazines or something?
I think he does.
Yeah.
But he was on our show a little while ago. Lovely energy for a guy. First time I'd interviewed him, but I'd had sort of bypassed him because he actually was. I think he'd done some stuff on Psychic TV as well.
Oh, right.
So we have some big names that come on, and some lovely energy of people. Very interested, all in their own energy of the way that they work. But I think my work is, we're looking next year to go out to America stateside. We're actually involved with, I know we're Becoming Psychic. We're looking at going out to Canada as well. We just had a lady come over from Canada that runs events there, and she's up at, I think it's Nebraska that way. So we're looking to go over there and do some bits and pieces. I'm looking more to do the teaching side of things.
Okay.
I did teach out in Ibiza a couple of years ago at a retreat, and I've never been one for the teaching because I've always taught through my work through the TV and radio anyway. So I'm finding now that I want to teach more. And I did ask Spirit a couple of years ago, how the hell am I going to teach mediumship? Because you can't teach it.
No.
So what I'm doing is showing them the introduction of mediumship. And I think that anybody out there, and I think this is something that's important, that if you are wanting to do this and you don't feel the energy of it, then you're going down the wrong path.
Okay.
You will know when you're ready to be open, and you will feel that energy. And I think anybody out there that is a medium or a developing medium and they're going through struggles at the moment, always remember that sometimes that might be the material stuff in life that's blocking the energy of it at the moment.
Okay. Yeah.
We have to sometimes, Spirit will step back and let you deal with stuff, because we have to know how to be the empathetic person of knowing what it's like to go through the things, as much as what Spirit are giving you for the understanding.
Yeah.
So say for instance, guys, you haven't experienced the death within the energy of something that's really close to you, like a mother or a father or whatever, or a partner or a child, or maybe you haven't experienced something within the energy of losing house, home, property, or being homeless. These are the things that all of us mediums have, and I've experienced these things.
Okay.
I've lost grandparents. I lost my daughter's mum to cancer 4 years ago. I was homeless. I had a dreadful life. The fact is, I think everybody thinks that, they look at Grant Collier sometimes on TV, oh, he lives a lavish life. Yeah, it's very hard becoming the medium. It's very hard being the medium. You know, I think that there has to be an ounce of responsibility to understand the process of what you're giving over. It's not just all about validation. But obviously validation is the key, but it's not always just about the message. It's the message beyond that, to be able to lead people on and give them a bit of guidance, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment. That's what I'm up to. It's going leaps and bounds. All I can say is keep watching.
Please let us know what's going on as well, so we can obviously
absolutely
let people know.
I will do. I will do. We'll keep you updated, guys. And like I say, check out all them Facebook pages. I had some major comments that come forward for a show recently where people said to me, "Well, you're the next Tony Stockwell." Well, for me, I've got a lot of respect for Tony, bless him, and he does a fantastic job. But if I can be the next Tony Stockwell, well, that will really be happy for me in my life. You know, I know I'm doing my job right.
Yeah, cool.
I just want to say to anybody out there that if you are developing, if you are wanting to come into this work, remember it takes time. Remember you're working from the heart, and also remember the spirit work with you and not the other way around. Be patient and enjoy it, and remember also that it gives something back to you as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's a personal journey.
Well, I really thank you for coming along. Thank you for being so frank and honest as well, and open, and clearing lots of things up for us. We really do appreciate it. Please stay in touch and let us know what's going on and everything. And we will put all the links next to the video, because I know we're going to have calls, so how we can get in touch. It will go on there. The lads will try and get it done and up on the website this afternoon. Okay, so thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
It was lovely to meet you. Really enjoyed it, and we hope to see you again soon.
Oh, I'll be back. I'll be back, and hopefully I'll bring Sammy B up from Becoming Psychic Radio.
Well, that would be great. So
she's fantastic.
We'll hold you to that, guys. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.